Welcome, everybody. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, aka Alinco. We're glad that you are coming your way. We are coming your way on a very special day. This evening, we are blessed to have great folks. Once again, great folks in our community. There are always people in our community. The people that come on the show are not, out of space. They're just, your friends within your community and my community. And what we like to do is to come here and put our heads together on topical issues that relate to you and I. So please help join this convo so that we can together have a nice discussion on what we want to talk about today. So Mr. Pastor Akwete Akron is one of my guests. He is an assistant pastor at Temple of Victory Church. Temple of Victory Church, Pastor Akron, you are welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you very much.
Now, next to Pastor Akron is Raven Esco. Raven Esco is a church member at Anua, All Nations here in Chicago, which is also, more importantly, the CEO of Yesterday's Women. Raven Esco, you are welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and then lastly is Gideon Ayikwe. He was here last week to engage us. This week he offered to be here again. Gideon Ayikwe is a veteran broadcaster in Ghana. Gideon, once again, welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure. And what I want us to do is, before we begin, you all can take a minute to tell us, apart from your regular job, and apart from the titles that I just mentioned when I was introducing you, what else are you involved in? You can take a second to tell us some of the interesting things that you would like our viewing audience, to get to know about you guys. I'll start with Raven. I don't know if Raven can hear me, but let me see here. Can you hear me, Raven? Okay.
Now I couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay. Good. So what I'm saying is, I want you to take a minute to introduce yourself to our viewing audience, just so they can get to know who you are and what you're involved in, apart from the title that I just mentioned.
Okay. Well, I'm actually a financial coach. I'm a region vice president of my own firm here in Chicago, as well as I have my own non-for-profit called Yesterday's Women. We actually help women heal financially, spiritually, mentally, and physically with the teaching of the Word of God, deliverance, and love, and self-love, as well as I'm a playwright and producer. Which I love, one of my passions. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. So I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and everything I kind of do centers around biblical principles and how to love each other and how to, come together as a community to help heal each other as well. So that's pretty much it. And of course, I'm a mommy of 5 and then a wife as well.
Thank you so much. A wife and the mother of 5. And you still look very beautiful. Thanks for a great introduction. Gideon Ayikwe, a little bit about, apart from you being a veteran journalist, who's Gideon Ayikwe, for those of who have not heard from you so far?
Well, for those who do not know, I'm a farmer as well.
Okay.
That's right. I'm into broadcast media consultancy, and I do destination marketing and tourism.
Okay. Thank you so much. Destination marketing and tourism. Okay. That's very good to know. My brother, Pastor Akron.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as mentioned, I'm the assistant pastor at Temple of Victory Church in Chicago. I've been doing that for the last almost about 10 years. Yeah, last 10 years I've been working there and ministering there. Outside of that, I'm a nurse at the moment. I work in psychiatry and mental health at the Hines VA Hospital. I just graduated with my master's in psychiatry and mental health towards a nurse practitioner's license. So pending my exam, I'll be a full-fledged nurse practitioner in psychiatry and mental health. So I'd like to put a lot of that in what I do.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor. Before we continue with the show, I like to do what we traditionally do on the Progressive Mind Show, which is read to you the verse of the day. I'm a Christian, and so I believe in the Bible. Today's verse of the day is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. It says, "Stop doing wrong, learn to do right, seek justice, encourage the oppressed, defend the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow." On that note, let's go straight to what we want to talk about today. Was Jesus born in December? And I would like Raven to respond to that. And actually, I would like you all to respond to that quickly, just straight yes or no, and then we can go to the meat of things. Raven.
No.
Okay, Pastor Akron, your response to that.
An emphatic no.
Okay, Gideon.
Obviously, no.
Okay, so now we all of us here on this platform. I mean, my guests, including myself, we now know in particular Jesus was not born was not born in December. Why had we always believed that he was born in December growing up as children? And I think, I know you will not say, "Oh, you've always known." Even though you grew up in America, myself, Gideon Aikwe, Pastor Ate, he was born here, but he had some upbringing in Ghana. So
no, I was born in Ghana. I just came here really early.
Excellent. Now, so folks in Africa and the Caribbean, we've always known that. Raven, has that been the case for you as an American? And why do you think that has been that story until it changed recently, maybe for you?
So for me, I've always known. You're like, how is that right?
Even when you were a child?
Pastor,
Even when you were growing up as a child, you always knew that Jesus was not born in December.
Yes.
Okay.
So my mom's a pastor, and she did a lot of research on Christmas and the birth of Jesus. She's about history. And so growing up as a kid, I knew that we celebrated and his birth in December, but I knew his birthday was not in December. And she would stress that from the time I was a kid. So I had more knowledge and more privilege to things I knew because of my mom, because she was in ministry. She was very much a historical figure. So she, liked to research things. So yeah, I always know, but most folks don't know. And I believe because we've kind of taken on this day as just what it is. And a lot of Americans, especially people that I know, don't research. So,
well, I think that Gideon and Akron, you take turns to answer this question. Why do you think that across the globe, and most Christians had always believed up until now, maybe up until recent times, but Raven is, I'll say, an exceptional case because Raven, if you can attest to what in this, right? Maybe tell me if I'm wrong or right. You said you knew, but I'm sure that most of the friends around you in your community and at school did not know. Most people believe that he was, the 25th of December was his birthday, right? Okay, so Gideon and Pastor, why have we always believed? Why has it always been that story over the years? Gideon, you being, I'll start with you, Gideon.
Okay, I think that we're all born into Christianity, and yes, I think that this is what we've been told over the period that Jesus Christ was born on the 25th of December.
Who told us? Who told us?
Well, our Christian teachers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Back in Sunday school, as we were growing up, all through to even presently, there are quite a number of people who believe that Jesus was actually born on the 25th of December. But then as we're growing up, and if you did research, you would come to realize that it defies natural laws, for anybody around where they lived, to be going grazing or, taking out the flock to graze at that time of the year when it's pretty cold. You understand? So that is ruled out completely. And But this is basically something that we were made to believe in. But then there are quite a number of us, as we're growing up into our teens, I mean, we realized that no, this is probably just something that some date that has been set aside, just as any other festivities to commemorate the day that Jesus was born. Nobody actually at the time, or even now, knew the day on which he was born. But I've always been convinced that he wasn't born in December.
Since when?
Oh, since my teenage days. Okay. Since my teenage days, I'm of the strong belief that Jesus was never born in December.
Okay.
Because I had read a lot, even at that tender age, I had read a lot and I've seen a lot. Okay. And I knew that, no, this is only a fallacy.
Yeah, I'm getting surprises today because most of the people, I mean, from Reverend to Gideon, they all say, oh, I always knew. Gideon, we didn't know for Pastor Ate.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think that it's taken a lot of Christians all these years to come to a realization that the Jesus that we love and celebrate was not even born on the 25th of December when all of us thought that? Do you think that it goes to the fact that people say Christians don't study the Bible enough and read or ask questions? Does it speak to that for you?
Not exactly. Why do we continue to celebrate when a lot of people know that Jesus Christ was not born on the 25th?
No, but my question to you is, why did it take us so long? For us to now start realizing that wasn't the case.
It has taken us such a long time because we didn't want to know. Certain things happen in life, and you have certain things that you celebrate that you're happy about that sometimes you don't want to know the truth about it. Let me give you an example. I come from Ghana as well as Gideon. As I said before the show, Gideon, I grew up watching you. So a lot of my memories I'm talking about right now is around the time you're on TV. So when I went to Ghana, I went at the age of 11. And that was in 1995. And at that time, I'd never seen a chicken being killed before. I enjoy eating chicken. And in America, we don't see the process of a chicken being put on your plate. All you see is the chicken. But going to Ghana, now I saw the brutality, so to speak, of putting chicken on the plate. How you have to catch the chicken, how you have to wring the chicken's neck and actually
Christmas.
cut the neck of the chicken, how the chicken flails around, then you pour the hot water and the smell of the feathers and all those kind of things. People don't like that. So a lot of people, especially in America where you don't get to see these things, they cut those things out of their mind because they don't want to see it. They enjoy the chicken, but they don't enjoy how the chicken is brought there. So in Christianity and worldwide, a lot of people love Christmas. They love Christmas. People wait so much for Christmas and prepare for it. Going back to this same story, when I was in Ghana, the first Christmas I had in Ghana, my grandfather went and bought a goat. And I think it was September or October, we had this goat and we were fattening the goat. And I asked my grandfather, what are we going to give the goat for? He said, oh, we're preparing this goat for Christmas. So all the way back in September, we're preparing for December. For Christmas. So it's something that everyone prepares for, everyone loves, and everyone is anticipating. And sometimes, even though we have a hint that something might be wrong with, we don't want to know the truth because it's going to spoil our fun in the long run. So a lot of us have not really cared to research and cared to investigate the actual date of Jesus Christ's birth because we love Christmas so much. So if we find out something that we don't like, now we are challenged to say, oh, now do I still celebrate or do I not celebrate? And even people understand the truth today, but they don't care. They still celebrate the birth of Christ on December 25th.
Before the celebration of Jesus Christ or Christmas was introduced to Africans, or I'd say, to Africans, Gideon. Was there any traditional way of celebrating the Creator, our God? Did we have any special date that would recognize God in a very special way, similar to the celebration of Jesus?
Obviously, our traditional priests will tell you that before Christianity or Islam was introduced to us in Ghana, they have always been around. They always had their way of communicating with God Almighty, whom they revere very much. Indeed, Saturdays, they believe that God is a Saturday born, sort of. And so they believe that Saturdays are very sacred to them if they have to link up with God Almighty. And so, yes, especially for us Ghanaians, our traditional priests would always wear white. They go barefooted because they think that there is some elements of blessings that you can get when you walk barefooted on earth. Apart from that, it also energizes the whole stream of our body and, sends our blood circulating properly and gives us that kind of energy that we need to live. And so, yes, we had our own style of worshiping the God Almighty, our own style of getting close to, our own style of speaking to him. As to whether he spoke to them back, I cannot tell, but that's how we were carrying it as the other part of Africa. Then of the subject of Jesus Christ, himself, it's kind of pretty controversial. Christians do not want to accept it, but that's the truth. Christianity itself is based on a lot of controversies. There are a lot of truths and untruths. The Bible itself is full of truths and untruths. I can say for a fact that the Bible itself cannot be a complete or cannot claim to capture everything that may have happened in biblical days till now. Yes, especially when you're following the sequence of events that happened from Adam and Eve up till now. And so there is a lot of truth outside the church that Christians do not know about. And each time you speak about this, Christians think that you're being sacrilegious. They think you're being blasphemous. But that is the reality. I think on the 20th anniversary of Pope John Paul II, of blessed memory, he came very close. Very, very close to unearthing the particular truth that has been hidden from us for a very, very long time. And if you look at what happened to Jesus Christ's disciples after his death, if you had read or you had researched, you would know, or you would come to know that most of them faced different shades of atrocities. Some were cooked in oil, some were skinned alive, some were crucified upside down. A lot of things happened to them. They were being persecuted here and there. It's not just the disciples, but everybody who preached Jesus Christ was being persecuted here and there. And so it took just one Roman emperor at the time, I've forgotten his name, who listened carefully and said, look, I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with what these guys are saying about this so-called Messiah. I think everything about him that is being said is rather good, and that if you followed his ways, it would be better for you as a human being. And so I think that it would be reasonable for us to listen to what they're saying and try and put them together.
Okay.
So that's how come they started going to look for books that have been written, those by Paul and so on and so forth. They started gathering everything that they can have, and stories as were told to them, Because if you looked at the New Testament, for example, it will tell you that the book according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And so these stories were not even told by themselves, but they told people, and those people told people who also told the stories. And so eventually they tried to put this whole Bible thing together. Okay. So when it comes to Jesus the Christ, the Son of the living God, there is a lot about him that a lot of people do not know. If you go to among the Hebrews, they call him Yeshua, so call him Dezua. And so I think that language actually is kind of unique. And so as you move on, I mean, people will derive kind of their own pronunciations here and there.
Okay.
Yes, but there is a lot that we need to know about the gentleman that we do not know. Where I know I know when he was born. I know which month he was born. I know which minute he was born. Yes, but it's a subject of controversy. And so, yes, so, I can tell you, but I cannot defend it.
Definitely,
yes.
I would like you to tell us, because that would be very interesting.
Jesus Christ, yes, someday, someday, whether in life.
Hold on to that. I want Pastor Akron and Raven to chime in on what you said in terms of the Bible not being, in terms of you said something regarding the Bible having controversies within the story that is in there, right? And so, which is testament to the convo that we're having today. And because now we know he wasn't born on the 25th. However, the Bible there's nowhere in the Bible that says 25th. So why was the Bible, or why were Christians and preachers using the Bible to back Christmas? Because even on Sundays, if it fell on a Saturday if it fell on a Friday, Christians will have church on Sundays, and then the Bible will be used to preach the birth of Christ as though it's the Bible that is mandating Christians to do this. Pastor Ate, would you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, before Pastor Akron comes in, let me quickly chip in that. Yes, the origin of the 25th December was actually a celebration of the sun god.
Yes, by the Romans.
Yes, by the Romans. Yes, by the Romans, which was very popular. So when this emperor that I'm talking about, when he came to accept what Jesus Christ, or all the preachings about Jesus Christ, and he wanted people to accept that too, he actually decided to fix Jesus Christ's birthday on that particular day, which is the 25th, so that at least he could win a lot of souls to his side. Yes, but then it was basically a period for the celebration of the sun god, 25th December.
All right. Pastor, your turn, please.
Yeah, let me add a few things to that. I just want to wow everybody for a second and then make this statement. The world has been celebrating Christmas thousands of years before Jesus Christ.
Yes.
As I said, the world has been celebrating Christmas thousands of years even before the birth.
Of course, yes. In Germany and in
no. I'm not talking about now. I mean thousands of years before Christ was born.
Of course, they had the form of Christmas. They had their celebrations.
Absolutely. One of the first accounts of anything even similar to that actually comes from a character in the Bible. His name was Nimrod, and he was what is considered actually the first emperor worldwide. The Bible recognizes him as the first really, really big king that was there, an emperor. And the stories for Nimrod, it says that he actually died. And when he died, he was reincarnated as his own son, Tammuz. And Samarias, who was his mother, declared that her Nimrod has actually been resurrected. And around the day that he was, I guess, conceived or he was born, an evergreen tree actually sprouted from a tree trunk on the outside of his window. So they believe that tree actually had some kind of spiritual connection or spiritual power to Nimrod. Nimrod actually later on became known as also the sun god. Mm-hmm. So as he said, Nimrod's actual birthday is actually December 25th. That's the 25th of December. Looking forward to the Egyptians. Egyptians also worship the sun god, and they also worship the sun god in the same time period. Mm-hmm. Also, the Romans as well, they worship the sun god. They worship at the same time period. And they also worship the god Saturn. It was pretty much like a farming or a harvesting god. And a lot of the things that they used to represent this sun god, and actually the fact that the winter was at that time pretty heavy, and that the sun god is somewhat sick or somewhat weak, and that the spring is going to be coming. They use the evergreen tree, which is the pine tree or the Christmas tree that we have over here, to represent the fact that things will be fresh and things will be made new again. So at this 25th, another thing that actually happens is that we have what is called the winter solstice. The winter solstice is a time where the days and the nights actually get to a certain kind of level, and one is more prevalent than the other. And right. It's agriculture, and all the cultures of the world have been in agriculture. So this is a time period that they all recognized. So this December 25th, if you look at it, it has held significance for people around the world. Some people who have worshipped the sun god, some people who have worshipped Saturn, some people who have worshipped Nimrod. In some way, shape, or form, they worship God or in God in some aspect around this time because of what naturally occurs in nature, and then also what they've been told from previous times. So this 25th, as Gideon was saying, because the world, as I said, was already celebrating Christmas, so to speak, and they already had a celebration at that time. It was actually a tool that the Catholic Church used to win converts. So it was in competition with the pagans, but yet also used it as a tool to invite them. Because some of the things that the pagans were doing, they couldn't just tell them to stop. Something as widely accepted as their winter solstice, they weren't going to stop. So what did they do? They rebranded. So let us actually make a time and say that Jesus Christ was born over here, so that we don't have to tell them to stop celebrating Christmas, but they can celebrate their celebration at the time that we recognize that our God was born. So all those things actually come together to make such a firm planting on the December 25th as a date for the birth of Jesus Christ.
Thank you. I know Raven wants to add her voice to this, and so please go ahead and do that, because to Pastor Ates and Gideon's point, it looks like, and I think the Pope you were trying to, is this Pope Julius the First or something?
Oh, no, before him. That's Constantine. Not Pope, the Emperor Constantine.
Okay, so who adopted the 25th as a celebration of Jesus during the time when it was celebrated? The 25th of December was celebrated for the gods of Rome at the time, right? I think one was called Mithra or something. Okay. So to your point, and then so they had the Saturn festival. Saturn festival. Okay, so knowing that it wasn't Christians who instituted, now that based on what you're saying, it wasn't Christians who started that celebration on the 25th of December, but rather it was adopted for Jesus Christ as his celebration.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I just wanted to, clarify it, so for others who are listening, who are trying to piece everything you're saying together. Raven, please go ahead.
Okay, no problem. So growing up, my mother kind of taught me about, she was saying that, look at the dates, right? She was saying that Jesus Christ was born around September 29th. That was kind of off the Jewish calendar she was looking at. And okay. She was saying that, it's normally, she was saying, because of the dates, it's like 70 weeks from his birth to his crucifixion, which is around April. And we were going through just even the holidays around the time, and just what Gideon was talking about, the climate around the time, that couldn't have been his birth. But a lot of Christians believe that's the birth because that's what we've been taught. We've been taught this in churches. We've been taught this growing up. We've been taught this, amongst our family and friends, that December 25th was the day of his birth. And especially in America, we don't know otherwise. A lot of pastors don't teach against that being the day of his birth. And so unless you take a real journey and just kind of go through the history and just look at the logical things of the Bible and say, maybe that's not right, and kind of challenge your perspective of what's been taught over the last 25, 35, 45 years of your life, normally you will not find the actual conclusions. And I know a lot of elderly people who, of course, are stuck in their ways. It's like, no, this is what I was taught. I'm not going to go against what I was taught. But you have to get out of your religious ways and say, let me just study the Bible myself. Let me study history myself. Not just even studying the Bible. I love history. I am a big history buff. My friends always tell you that. And to know the history and to actually read your word and to bring those two together, you will get a more understanding of what you're reading. And then you have to also, taking account of the Roman Empire came in and changed a lot of our traditions, a lot of our things. You know, even I was just reading recently that they said that January 6th, right, is they said the birth of Jesus Christ, which, you know, that's not even right. And even the transition from the 25th to the 6th, which is now considered the 12 days of Christmas, right, was something they adopted because of, you know, the Eastern Egyptians, right? So all the different cultures have made their own conclusions of when Christmas was, but nobody has done the actual research themselves to figure out, you know, really when was he born? You know, looking at you know, they say he was born, or he died 6 months after he was born, right? From his birthday, which is like 33 and a half, right? So doing the math, what does that fall onto? And a lot of people don't do that. Like, oh, I'm not doing the math. What's the point? You know, why does it matter? But what my whole point of saying that is, whether his birthday was in September, whether it's in January, whether it's in December, we kind of use this day to celebrate his birth, right? Celebrate the day he was born, celebrate even our history and our roots and our Christianity, knowing that this man was born this day, and it was our freedom day, the first date of our freedom, that, you know, the Messiah was born. So no matter when he was born, let's just do this day celebration and remembrance of him, and not be so stuck on the presents and the things on the wall and old Saint Nick, right? Making sure we know why this day was even celebrated in the first place, and not be so stuck on the actual date itself. That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, but I don't know if everybody on the panel agrees with you. Before I go to Gideon, so he tells us the dates, the time, the hour, the minute, the second. Gideon, can you hear us? I don't think. Okay, good. So I know that,
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's take a few. Let's say hi to our Facebook audience. Noble Chadra says, "Good evening, my Dawn." Oh, okay, he said, "My son." I don't know which one is okay. So, but thank you so much, Noble Chadra, for joining the feed this evening and for passing your comment. And then that's Oko Akron. Oko Akron is also giving his brother a shout out. I know Pastor Ate is a twin, so Oko is Pastor Ate's twin. Twin brother, thanks for chiming in this evening. Makafui Adam says, AKO Oko. He always, Pastor Ate is always on point. Pastor Ate is also, he's always on point. Rebecca Mode says, welcome and Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And then Black Jesus says, what's up, Alinco? For me, the Bible is like a storybook. Okay, that is from Black Jesus. Ella says, bless you, brother Alinco. Good topic. Thank you so much, Ella. She says, no shepherd graces in the cold. I believe it is a doctrine. Okay. Doctrines. Why do we have so many doctrines? Do we need them as Christians? Another topic to be discussed. So thank you so much, Ella, my beautiful cousin, for your comments. Eddie Green says, so amazing how much emphasis the world has put on the birthday of Christ when he didn't even care about it, let alone celebrate his birthday. And then Empress says, so Jesus is a Capricorn, if you Empress, thanks for your comment. Eddie Green, thanks for your comment. Please help share the feed so we can all engage in this very interesting topic. Gideon, please go ahead.
Yes, as I said, it's pretty controversial. Yes, but I know that he was born on the 14th of November.
Okay.
14th of November. Mm-hmm. It's a Monday, mm-hmm. And he was born at
Jamestown.
2:40 a.m. 2:40 a.m. 20 minutes to 3.
Wow!
In what town?
Yes.
In where? In which town?
In Bethlehem, of course.
In Bethlehem, yes.
No.
In Bethlehem. Let me give you a sequence of events.
He's giving us the info on the birth of Jesus. So I wanted him
Note it. I want you all to note it. Maybe in this life or afterlife. I mean, you would say somewhere that, wow, Gideon mentioned this. Yes. Note it again. 14th November. 14th November. It's a Monday at 2:40 a.m. in Bethlehem. Now, you would recall that Herod was actually persecuting, trying to find, Joseph and Mary and stop the birth of Jesus Christ, because he's been prophesied to him, or he's been told that the Messiah was going to be born. And so, yes, the angel of the Lord had appeared to Joseph and asked him to take the wife and get out of there. And so that very, very important man, listen carefully, that very, very important man eventually ended up being born in the midst of a flock of sheep. Now, some people, when they're preaching, akin it to humility. No. The gentleman was not supposed to have been born there. But as they were trekking and trying to find a place, that is the only place they got when, as we say now, Mary's water may have broken, or the time was due for her, or she was in labor and for her to give birth. So it was a very difficult moment for Mary and Joseph as well. And that fine gentleman shouldn't have been born there. Now, for a king, his status, even our worldly kings, the way they are received when they're given birth to is with pomp and pageantry. But he never received that. And so going forward, this is what Christians should rather be looking at doing. First of all, as soon as he comes out of the womb, as soon as the first shrill of cry goes out, there must be the popping of a champagne or whatever, wine, whatever, blasted anywhere, firing of musketries amidst drumming appellation. Yes, firing of musketries, drumming appellation. And then people around gather the nicest of natural flowers, not artificial flowers, natural flowers, to welcome him and congratulate the mother. That is just the basics. And then family and friends will gather around and sing to the glory of God that such a very important person had been born. Now, moving on, I mean, you would look at the week after he was born and so on and so forth. It's quite a topic. Okay. It's a whole topic, yes.
Okay. So Gideon has given us his, I don't know where he got this information from, but...
Don't ask me.
Wow. The time, the day. So
yes.
Somebody put a comment here. Mouse says, Kojo Jesus.
Kojo Jesus.
So for those of you who don't know what Kojo is, if you are Ghanaian, Monday borns are usually called Kojo with the Akan and then the Ewe tribe. Yeah, I think is within the Akan and the Ewe tribes. Kojo is for people who are born on Monday. So just if we want to go by what Gideon is saying, Jesus is definitely a Kojo, which, I am very proud of this because I'm a Kojo. So
you're a very lucky person.
I am a black man.
Yes. If you're a Kojo, if you were born on the 14th of November, or you were even born in the month of November, you're a very lucky person.
Actually, I was born in November. Okay. Yeah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen.
So me and Jesus are on the same level. I beg.
No, you're not on the same level. You're just fortunate to be. Yes.
Me and Jesus are in the same camp. Let me put it that way, right?
Okay, that's acceptable.
Yes. No, I take that back. Yeah, of course. So no, I don't know if Pastor Ate or Raven want to add to what Gideon just said. If not, I would like to look at something else.
I just like to add a few things. Okay. Going back over here, I've actually I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps back in from 2002 to 2006. So I was actually in Afghanistan and actually in Iraq. So that's close to where the Middle East is over here, in that region of the world. So just want to confirm that in the spring, early spring and late and in the winter, it is actually quite cold. It is the desert, but because the clouds are actually very, very thin at that time, the heat is gone from the day. So nighttime, you can get to like 30, 40 degrees, and definitely no shepherds would be in the field grazing their sheep at that time of the year. Right. So concerning what Gideon was saying about the time and the date over here, I don't know where he got that from, but it's very, very interesting. But I think someone commented, or I just look at a comment, and one of the big things is that Jesus Christ didn't find it important to emphasize his birthday. And I'm very sure that, especially back in that time period, unless you're very, very rich, people really found their birthdays, I can't say insignificant, but they weren't anything that we need to take time to do. The early church, let's say after the birth of Christ, they never put any emphasis on the birthday of Jesus Christ. So it wasn't really until probably about the third or fourth century that the Catholic Church made an emphasis. And I told you reasons that they possibly made an emphasis at that time, because at that time they're actually bringing converts from the pagan world into Christianity. So that was a way that they could entice them to keep them on the schedule of their festivals, but yet maintain a Christian narrative or a Christian focus for the season. So in all, I've come to the point where I don't really see Christmas as such a spectacular thing. One thing that I realize and that I've come to grips is that Christmas is a man's holiday. Okay. It wasn't constructed by God. If you look at the word Christmas, it's actually two words. It's Christ and it's Mass. So that means it's the Mass for Christ. So when they initiated Christmas, the Catholic Church said, okay, let us set out a day that we go to church and that we actually have a church service specifically for Christ on the day of his birth. So that's how it originated, as a Mass for Christ. So over the years, as I said, as more pagans were coming into Christianity and then they tried to sway them, a lot of the practices that the pagans had started to creep into what we're doing with the celebration, with the evergreen trees, which are the pine Christmas trees that we use now, with the decorations, with the presents and the gifts, and even the Santa Claus coming maybe about a millennia after that. But all these things creep in. And in the book of Matthew chapter 15, Jesus Christ actually goes into conversation with the Pharisees. And what he talks to, what they are accusing him and his followers of not washing their hands before they eat bread. So this was a ritual that they had. Now, the washing of hands before you eat the bread, that was only for the priest to do. But the traditions of the Hebrews, they had actually taken that out of the temple and brought it to the normal people who are professing holiness, so that they can actually feel more holy. But Jesus Christ, when he was asked this question, he says that, well, why do you go against the commandment of God by your traditions? So Jesus Christ was throwing back to them that when someone dies, they're not allowed to give their property to their mother and father. They have to give it to the church or to the temple at that time, which is actually against what God is calling for, because even in death, someone is supposed to honor their mother and father with their possessions. So Jesus Christ says that in doing this, he says that, and in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. So these people draw near to me with their mouths and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me. So with what I'm trying to draw from it is that when we have a construct of human beings, of men trying to do something holy or be holy, it actually becomes convoluted. And along the way, we get so many different things that are added to it that end up contradicting the commandments and the word of God. And why do I say this? It's because of like the gift giving, the decoration of the houses and the trees, the elevation of Santa Claus, and all these different things, which when you really examine them, they're actually in contrary to the word of God. If you look at Jeremiah chapter 10, Jeremiah chapter 10 talks about, a man goes to cut a tree and then he comes and he decorates it. He wraps it up with silver and gold and he nails it and he stands it up in his house. It can't talk. It can't speak. It can't do evil. It can't do good. But you stand there and then you worship it. In what we do today, we actually worship the Christmas tree. There's a song called Oh Christmas Tree, Oh Christmas Tree. So that's a song that we're using to elevate the Christmas tree. You look at Rockefeller Center in New York, they have the tree lighting. Even in at the White House, they have the tree lighting where they go and make a spectacle of lighting the tree. Like this is treading on thin ice. Then you talk about Santa Claus, and I've told this to many people. Let us look at Santa Claus, this character. Now we have a mythical character.
We'll come to Santa Claus.
Okay, all right.
That is. No, thank you so much. That's you just brought out a lot of revelations with regards to even the Christmas tree decorations, and because I wanted us to look at what does the Bible even say about this whole celebration itself. Is there anything in the Bible that speaks to it, or Christians have just adopted, what was a doctrine that was initiated by a Roman Pope some years back, and we are just running with it. And as Christians, are we not supposed to be doing what the Bible wants us to do? Are we not? Do we have to add to what the Bible has not given us? And that becomes go ahead quickly. I want to go to read it.
Yeah, let me just say something small about that. So the Bible hasn't called us. You'll search the Bible, and of course, you're not going to find the word Christmas in the Bible, nor will you find anything that points to a celebration in December or a celebration to commemorate the day of the birth of Jesus Christ. The apostles themselves never saw fit to do anything like that. They were more important and they were more focused on the death and the resurrection of Christ. They didn't care one bit about the birth of Jesus Christ. You never see in the writings anything about the birth of Christ, but you see about the death and resurrection. That point of emphasis, they pound it and they pound it and pound it so often.
Excellent. So is it just the joy that Christians have a king who they yearn to celebrate, and so they want to decide, they want to stay with that 25th, because even in the New Testament, which a lot of Christians like to dwell on, and the Apostle Paul, who wrote the third of the Old Testament, right?
Mm-hmm. No, New Testament.
New Testament. I'm not that a bad Christian. At least I know that he wrote the New Testament. That was a slip of tongue. Please.
2/3 he wrote. He wrote 2/3 of it.
2/3. Okay. No. Okay. Thank you, Pastor Atta. I told you, Pastor Atta is on point. He knows stuff. So why? So all these instructions, like what you just said, that Apostle Paul, wrote about, and the things that Christians have to be doing. There's so many of them. We haven't even finished doing, a lot of them. And we're so much focused every year on spending a lot of money and time in celebrating something that was not for once mentioned by Apostle Paul, nor any of the prophets in the Bible. But Raven, let me come to you, and then we can go to the Santa Claus situation.
It's funny you say that, because we do put a lot of emphasis on Christmas every single year, right? That's like the focal point of every single year for a lot of Christian households, which to me is crazy. Even though I celebrated a tree in the back with my presents around it, my kids understand why we celebrate it. And I think that's the part that makes it better for my household. And I believe every individual household can do it the way you feel like you should do it. But for my household, they know why we celebrate Christmas, right? They even understand why we do the presents and say, hey, listen, I know what they say the presents are for, but the presents is saying that Jesus was the presence of the world. He was a gift to the world, And so this is just a exchange of gifts, me to say I love you and you love me, but this is about Jesus Christ. And they understand that. But a lot of Christians have gotten to, they've idolized this day. It's to the point where now if I don't get a gift on Christmas, I'm depressed. If I don't have friends and family on Christmas, I'm depressed. And we've made this day so inclusive where if you're a single mother and you can't afford a couple gifts, it's like a failure as a parent. We focus more on Christmas than the actual real gift, which was Jesus Christ. You know, and so I'm like, you know, I really wish, you know, we stop focusing and make idolizing this one day. When Easter comes along, it's like, you know, or Resurrection Sunday comes along, they go, oh yeah, I might go to church and you make me dinner, but that's it. You know, that was the real Freedom Day, you know, but we don't want to talk about that day as much. We focus so much on Christmas because we've made it more about and gifting. And to be real, our government systems, our everything that we are surrounded, they focus on Christmas because it's the day to make money. Let's just be real. They've pumped in our heads this day, got all this Christmas cheer and joy around it, and it's not focused around family. It's focused on making money and making profit for businesses and people. And so, unfortunately, we've been sucked into this whole, I don't call it crap, but crap, every single year, so we can make these businesses more money because we're so focused on buying our kids presents. You know, I would never spend more than $200 on $300 on my 5 kids, for Christmas ever. Because it's not that serious. It's not about under the tree what's in your heart. And if your heart is not right, the tree doesn't matter. So
Thank you so much. It's 6:57 here in the city of Chicago. You're still listening to you're watching and listening to the Progressive Mind Show. We are live on Facebook and YouTube as well. Please feel free to share the feed so we can engage your friends and my friends in this very interesting conversation. The Progressive Minds is live every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, this is where we engage the community in dealing with topical issues that pertains to you and I. And we are glad to have a few more folks who have joined us and have sent their comments. We'd like to take those. We'll take a short break at 7 p.m. When we come back, definitely want to look at the Santa Claus in this whole Christmas contest. Is it a competition? Is the Santa Claus image a competition to the Jesus image that we Christians have now adopted to celebrate? Is there any competition there? Which one are we celebrating? Are we celebrating both? You know, I think it's worth talking about, right? It's worth talking about. So stay tuned and keep your comments coming. It's very, very important. We appreciate them. I'll take this one real quick. This is from Eddie Green. He says, the Creator established that is holy to him, everything down to dates and times. Man decided to change what the Creator considers holy. Example, the scripture states that Christ was in the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Yet the world's Passover is on a Friday, and Easter, aka Ishtar, Aka, Isis, is on Sunday, 2 days. Yeah, churches follow this. Churches follow with little to no challenge. This is why I left mainstream churches. It is a blatant acception of demonic deception. Okay, acception of demonic deception. Thank you, Eddie Green, for your comments. I will have definitely the guest, my guest would be responding to someone. I hope that Pastor Akron and Gideon are taking notes of this comment because I'd like you to respond to some of them. Akoli Ben says, Black looking at the geographical arena. I think Ben is referring to Black Jesus, maybe. Ben, let me know if you can clarify for us. Valentino Life XS, the last one is difficult to pronounce, but the comment is the celebration of Christmas is not in biblical calendar. It is the calendar of the world of biblical celebration. It is the death of Jesus Christ and resurrection that is the root of Christianity, not Christmas. Thank you so much. And I think we already seen this one. Obaya says, kudos, brother. I totally agree. Yes, Jesus was born, but we have not been asked to celebrate his birth. Thank you so much, Ella. Eddie says, I think we already read this one. There was a comment that I wanted to read from Akoli Ben. He says, this year is a challenge, the Ethiopian calendar, Gregorian calendar, and Julian calendar. Ben, can you call to help explain that? I don't understand. I don't understand all of that. That's a little technical for me. I mean, I haven't gotten that to Pastor Ates level of spiritual Yes. So help us. The number to ring if you okay, I'll give out the number after the break, but let's take this other comment. My pastor Ate is too deep. Please make sure you follow and subscribe to him on TOV TV YouTube. Okay, we will come to that. Thank you so much for bringing that point out. And there's a comment here I wanted to read. Amanda Kaglo says, Brother Gideon, please, I would like to know the year as well. Gideon, do you have the year? Okay, that one, he didn't find it in the book. Okay, wherever Gideon got the information from, the year wasn't there. So,
I didn't get it from a book. I told you that if we have to discuss this, it will be too controversial.
Okay. So Gideon says he doesn't have the year. Amanda Kaglo. So for your info, if you want to know, maybe I can give you his email contact, so you can reach out to him. Is that possible, Gideon? If somebody wants to reach to you personally, okay, great. Gideon has accepted that. So if you want to, I can give you his information. I thought Santa was Jesus secretary. Alamide says, happy holidays, everyone. Go Team Progressive Minds. Thank you so much. Now we want to take one more comment. Dr. Portia says, I really need to know where Gideon found that history. So Gideon, you brought yourself now. So let people people will want to know have some questions answered. Maushi says, Jesus accepted a pregnancy that wasn't his. A lot of men need to learn from this. Okay, on that note, we shall take a short break. When we come back, the Progressive Minds continues. Looks like we're having a little technical difficulties with Raven. Let's see if we can help out. We shall be right back with this short break. After this short break.
Check out this beautifully made artistry of coffee tables made from a combination of recycled tires, jute ropes, wood, and fabric to suit your style. Yes, we make to order. These coffee tables can help you make a statement in your bedrooms, offices, and living rooms. But remember, we only ship within the USA and Canada after shipping cost is paid. Call Jasper Designs on 1-306-203-2650 or email us at doduyayra@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Jasper Love or follow Pearl Yayra Agboka on Facebook. Don't be left out. Please place your orders now.
Welcome back. I think we lost Raven due to technical issues. We shall get her back soon. I'm going to give out the phone numbers just so anybody wants to ring in. You can go ahead and do so and share your comment. The number is also on the screen. If you're watching, the number is also on the screen. It's scrolling down the bottom, and so you can pick it from there. It's 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047. Let's go to Pastor Ate and Gideon. Again, let me see if we can. Okay, so now we have Gideon and Pastor Gideon Aikwe and Pastor Ate. Pastor Ate and Gideon, please, before we went on a break, there were a few comments. I don't know if you noted anyone down that you would like to respond to before we move to the next thing. Please, if you do, please go ahead and respond quickly.
I'll actually somewhat go ahead. My brother was talking about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, as Jesus Christ spoke to his apostles and said that he's going to be in the earth 3 days and then resurrect on the third day. Uh-huh. Why is it that he died on Friday, but yet we see Sunday as the resurrection day? That's only 2 days.
I think this is the question, right?
Come again?
I think this is the question. The one I have on the screen. I don't know if it's. Okay, I think this might not be it, but go ahead. I'll try and see if I can find the exact question. But yes, you were spot on. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't actually have an answer for that. That's not something I've actually, I know a lot of things, but I definitely don't know the answer to that one. That is definitely something that needs to be looked into. And my brother is right. There are a lot of different things that we've been taught or that we've been told in Christianity that we failed to actually research. In the Bible, the book of Acts, it says that the people in Berea, they were held as very, very good Christians, because even when Paul and the other apostles had preached to them, they went back to go and verify in the scriptures whether these things were actually correct. And as Christians, we actually don't do that too often. We've been talking about a whole lot of different things in my church, and we've actually, as the pastors and the leaders of the church, we've actually had to reform our positions. After we've gone back to study certain things, we say, you know what? Well, what we're doing is wrong. I mean, especially this whole Christmas celebration. My church itself, we've actually had concerts for Christmas, and we've done decorations and stuff like that. But when we actually sat down and we began to discuss what we're doing as opposed to what's prescribed in the Bible, we found that, you know what, this might not be the right thing to do. And I challenge every Christian that certain things that we hold as truth, certain things that we hold as regular celebrations and stuff like that, go and look into it. Go and do some research and look into the Bible and see what it says. And if you find that the Bible doesn't support those things, don't be too pig-headed to let those things go. At the end of the day, I mean, if God hasn't asked you to do these things, then it's not that important for you. Christmas is enjoyable for everybody, but my kids don't know they don't really know about Christmas because I don't teach them about Christmas.
Wow. Gideon, do you agree to what Pastor Arthur just alluded to? I think we have you on mute. If you can check your work on your microphone.
Sorry about that. I would agree to some. I would disagree to some as well. Yes, I have told you that the Bible itself cannot contain everything that may have happened. So there is a lot that have probably not been told. And then there are others that we've been told that they may not be entirely true, even though we find them in the Bible. One typical example is the birth of Jesus Christ. I saw a comment from someone saying that Joseph accepted a pregnancy that wasn't his, and so we must replicate him. A lot of men should replicate.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I can tell you for a fact that Jesus Christ was conceived as you and I were conceived, and was given birth to as you and I were given birth to. Everything about Jesus Christ was biological. Now, regards to inconsistencies in the dates, yes, you would ask yourself why. That is another controversial area. The death, the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the basic of Christianity, because you know why?
Gideon, we have a call on the line. He may have a question or comment for you. Caller, please tell us your name and why you're calling. Hello? Can you hear me, caller? Okay, looks like the call looks like we lost it. Hopefully we can get him again, but go ahead, Gideon. The number is 815-277-5047. Please go ahead.
Yes, so as I was saying, the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the base of Christianity. I mean, that is the root of Christianity. That is what Christianity is built on. And understandably so, because Christianity was introduced to us by the Romans. Even in Israel, if you go to Israel today, the Christians, they are just of minutes of fractions. Their religion is different.
Right.
And so, yes, even the base for which the Christianity found itself is not correct. It's false.
So,
in fact.
So you're saying the foundation of Christianity has a lot of flaws?
It has serious flaws. It has serious flaws. And if you went into the Bible, I mean, you would find a lot of quotations attesting to that fact. A lot of happenings in the Bible attesting to that fact.
Do you have quotation? Do you have one or two quotations that you would say you can?
First of all, let me tell you why. Let me tell you what I'm trying to drive at.
Okay.
That Jesus, listen to me very well. I'm a Christian and I believe in the Son of Man. I pray to him every day. He is my everything.
Yeah.
Whatever I need, if I call him, he answers me in his own time. And so I believe in him. I believe in God Almighty.
Okay, let's take this call.
Yes.
Let's take this call, and then we'll come to the caller. Please tell us your name, and if you can turn down the device on which you are listening to us, so we're not getting feedback, that would help us a lot.
Okay, my name is Ben Akoli.
Ben, please go ahead with your comment or question.
Okay, I think the gentleman speaking about the flaws in the Bible. Remember, the Bible, if you have to measure it from a logical consistency, empirical evidence, and relevance, you get to know that the authors of itself, when they were measuring of the Bible and all come together, there were other books, all right, that Paul wrote. But there were measures that were contained in the canon, which is contained the Bible we have now. So when he said there are errors, it might be geographical. When you look at the existence, geographical evidence of it, the things that were said were true. You have to measure it by all this logical consistency. So it wasn't that there were errors, but it was through explanation. Like in the days before, we were using cassettes. If I had to give a cassette to my daughter or my child today, he will not know what it is. So through translation and other explanation, we have to look at the human content that explain the Bible. So I don't agree with him about the errors and all that. No, there are standard and measures when you have to look at the Bible from that content.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ben, for your point. Raven, I know you wanted to respond to something earlier. Please go ahead. Because of time, I would like Gideon to respond to the caller if you so wish. But Raven, go ahead. Before that, please, a second. Before that, the number to call is 815-277-5047. All right, go ahead, Raven.
I actually forgot what I was going to say, but I do want to know, like, lady wants to know, how did Gideon get the very time, the day, the Monday on? I really want to know that. Like, where did you find that at? And like, so that we can go back and research on our own to figure out if that's the real date, time. And like, I want to know as well. So
Gideon said he didn't get it in a book. So I'm assuming he mysteriously got it. Now, that alone tells you that it will take us time. It will take us the rest of the show for him to try to let you understand or try to get you to see where he's coming from. So what we'll do is we can have him respond to you off air. Is that possible? Okay, because he is saying now he's saying that this is his opinion, right? And he's not saying that, okay, I am saying for a fact that this is the truth. He's saying from what he knows, this is what happened. Those are his words. Now, he's not backing it with any.
No, I said that is the truth.
Oh,
that
you
is
said
the truth.
Okay, so Gideon,
absolute truth.
Okay, if you're saying that is the truth, and you cannot give us any source to, follow up on,
because you see, it will be too controversial to discuss.
Okay, and
that is why I want us to rest it for now. But I told you something. I said, put the date down. Maybe in this life or afterlife, you would say, "Oh, this gentleman mentioned this some time ago."
Okay. On that note, on that note, let's look at Santa Claus. I know you would.
Senna, there's one thing I don't like to disrupt over here, but there's one thing that Mr. Gideon, love and respect, that he said that I'd like to just poke at a little bit, because I found it, I can't say disturbing, but something that poked my ears up. So you mentioned that Jesus Christ was born and conceived just as we were born and conceived. So, I mean, from what I hear, from what I understand from that statement, that means you are challenging what is called the Immaculate Conception. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I cannot hold myself in that manner. I cannot challenge the Bible, but I can say, as humans as we are, we all know how they put the Bible together.
Yeah.
Yes. What I'm saying is, I didn't say the Bible is full of errors. No, I said the Bible contains inaccuracies.
Mm-hmm.
Inaccuracies.
Yes. Okay. So and when the caller called, was commenting, he said that to him, it's just you have to match the sequences, the story of the Bible to what he made a point in disagreement to what Gideon is saying. To him, to him, there's no inaccuracies. He thinks that it's perfect based off how you.
Let me veer into another area of controversy, and this, I believe, is what the late Pope wanted to say but couldn't say, because it would change. It could change, or it could have changed the face of Christianity, because that's our belief that Jesus Christ came to die for our sins. I do not subscribe to that.
Okay.
I know, Jesus Christ's death is the saddest mistake ever made by man. The saddest mistake ever made by man.
Okay.
And a few sequences in the Bible, if I'm permitted. Somewhere John 7:19, when they were persecuting him, he asked them, "But why do you seek to kill me? Did Moses not give you the law?" Which law was he talking about? Thou shalt not kill. And then when you look at the event that happened with Judas and all, the event that happened with Caiaphas and all, where they said it was prophesied that Jesus Christ was going to die. Nobody ever prophesied that Jesus Christ was going to die. It was Caiaphas, the high priest at the time, who said that based on what this gentleman is preaching to us, everything that he's saying is against what we've been saying. He's holding himself as the Messiah and so on.
Okay, Gideon. Okay.
And so,
Gideon. So
yes.
So today you have dropped one or two controversial, I'll say
note them very well.
Yes,
and one more before we discuss. No, just a quick one. A quick one.
Okay.
Just a quick one. Yes. He died. Jesus died on the 11th of April.
Okay.
11th of April. Note that date as well.
Okay, good. So you have dropped these points, and so today's topic is, basically want to know if Jesus. We have talked about if he was born. If he was born.
Well, obviously, I mean, you can't talk about birth without talking about death. These are just by the way, but we can come back to this to the topic for today.
So I want us to come to it, just for the benefit of our audience. And we have looked at, we look briefly into the history of Christmas. And if it's in the Bible, we have established it's not in the Bible. If you're a Christian, you can look at the Bible yourself. It's not there. Jesus didn't ask us, nor any of his disciples, nor the prophets ask us to celebrate. But it has so become a thing for Christians now. And so so it's worth talking about. 2 days from now, we're going to be celebrating. Most Christian homes are going to be, celebrating this. And so, and the entire world as well. And so we want to be able to talk about it, specifically looking at it from the Christian perspective, Christians and Christmas. And so what has the image of Santa Claus, what role is it playing even for Christians, when we're celebrating Christmas? how has it influenced, our celebration, even for those who believe that, yes, we have to celebrate our King on the 25th. We have adapted that date and we're going to celebrate it. But let's look at Santa Claus. Is it taking premise of the Jesus in the celebration of Christmas for those who still want to celebrate it?
Yeah,
Pastor Ate.
Well, I have a lot to say about this Santa Claus character.
Yes, please go ahead. Because we want to be able to look at that that aspect. Because again, are we celebrating Jesus? Are we celebrating Santa? Or are we celebrating both? And it's okay for Christians to do that.
All right. So first off, I'm actually going to ask a question and then I'm going to go on. Please excuse me because it's going to be long-winded. So I was asking my co-workers at work, and I work with a mixture of Indians, Filipinos, white people, Hispanic people, so forth and so on. And I asked this question.
But try and make it brief.
Yes, I'll make it brief. My son is in the first grade. So I asked him if I went to my son's first grade class and I told the whole class that Santa Claus doesn't exist, it's fake, would I get in trouble? And the answer is collectively yes. And the second question I asked is, if I went to my son's class and I told him that Jesus Christ is fake, he's an imaginary character, would I also get in trouble? And people actually paused and said that I might not get in trouble. But one thing was held is that the two of them, the more trouble I'd get is if I said that Santa Claus does not exist. So amongst the children, especially, Jesus Christ, because of what we have taught them, has very little significance, even on his birthday. As Santa Claus has more significance and more promise and more faith amongst the children than even Jesus Christ. And the only reason we believe in Santa Claus is because of Jesus Christ. Santa Claus is actually, he comes from a character called St. Nicholas, who lived around 280 AD after the death of Christ. He was a monk, and he was a very, very well-known and well-respected monk, a very, very kind and gentle guy. When he died, they venerated him as the Catholic Church does. They elevated him to a high status, and they pretty much sainted him as St. Nicholas. So after that, they pretty much had prayers to St. Nick because they made him the patron saint of children. So going through the years, this St. Nicholas character had grown in such popularity, especially when he went to Europe. The Germans, the Italians, the French, the English, the Dutch, they had this character, St. Nicholas, but he didn't have the form of what he had at this time. So as people migrated to America, that's when this whole idea of St. Nicholas or Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus actually comes from the Dutch word Sinterklaas, which when it came to the United States turned into Santa Claus as a shortened form. So Santa Claus was a well-known character amongst the Europeans who came over here, and they used him to celebrate Christmas. But what actually happened is that when commercialization grabbed hold of this imaginary character, it became something all itself. So back in the as early as the 1770s, they started to propagate the story of Santa Claus in combination with the whole Christmas celebration. And when you get into the 1800s, that's actually when you see the major retail stores actually also propagating this. There was a man named Clement Clark Moore, who actually wrote a story, and the story is called The Night Before Christmas. That gave so much breadth and so much meat to the story of Santa Claus. And another man named Thomas Rant, who actually illustrated. So he actually drew the picture, and that story and that picture is actually what became the Santa Claus that we know. So when the retail stores around Christmas time wanted to sell more, they drew on what the people had already known, the stories and the fairy tales of Santa Claus with Christmas, and they started to inject this character for advertisement. So you'll see him in the newspaper. And then in the late 1800s, especially with the Salvation Army, they started to implement this Santa Claus character, ringing a bell and collecting money for people who were homeless and who needed a meal at Christmas time. So it is something that, especially in America, is so deeply rooted in what we do. Mm-hmm. But I want to expand on the danger of Santa Claus. As you mentioned, is he competing with Jesus Christ? I would say, yes, he's competing with Jesus Christ, and he has won. He has won, because in America, people collectively believe in Santa Claus more than they collectively believe in Jesus Christ. If you say that Santa Claus doesn't exist, people will actually be very, very mad at you at this time. But look at what we do with Santa Claus. We believe in a mythical character who comes down the chimney into our houses. And watch what we do. I don't know if you guys know so much, because this is American tradition. When Santa Claus is coming down your house, you actually leave for him milk and cookies. Now, if you were to tell the Hebrews from 2,000 years ago what we do for an imaginary character, leaving food and drink, they'll call that a food and drink sacrifice.
Yeah, that's for idols. We do. It's done in Ghana, like when you.
They will call that a food and a drink sacrifice that we're leaving for him. We even have songs that we sing onto Santa Claus to elevate his status as a person. So the belief and the kind of exercise that we put into believing in Santa Claus and holding up such a character on the birth of Jesus Christ is very, very bad. If our God is said to be a jealous God, are we not provoking him to jealousy by holding this Santa Claus character in such high esteem? I think Santa Claus is something that we really, as Christians, need to completely do away with because it's in direct competition with Jesus Christ on his birthday.
Okay. Well, on his quote-unquote birthday. Because
on his quote-unquote birthday, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that, you've made it very interesting points, and they're very insightful as well. Thank you for breaking it down that way. I don't know if Raven or Gideon wants to respond to that, but yeah, Raven, quickly.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm sorry, it'll be that is so true. What he said is not only Santa Claus is competing against Jesus Christ, but he has won. That is so true. We went from being Jesus Christ being the symbol of hope and grace and love and all these great things until Santa Claus being the symbolizer of hope. And so we really erased, what Christmas was supposed to mean initially for the Christians. We've made this man an idol, Santa Claus's idol. And now, even as Christmas, we're leaving out the cookies and milk for our children. We are hiding the kids up at midnight, tell them they're bringing all the gifts in, and we're breaking our necks, right, to have this idol get all the credit for what we do in our homes, which I think is ridiculous. And more so anything, as Christians, our job is not to get saved for ourselves, but to spread the message of who he is, right? And I think it's not fair that we spread the message of Santa Claus before we spread the message of who God was, his birth, and why it was so significant. Even how Easter ticks me off all the time because we celebrate a bunny rabbit and eggs and the whole getting dressed up. But I'm so tired of these idols taking in place of who God was, who he still is. And that's why, unfortunately, we can't get the world saved because we have conformed to the world, not them conforming to us. And that's the real issue. If you want to ask what our problem with Christmas is, it is the Santa Claus figure. It's making him an idol, making him the focus of our whole entire holiday. We want to put our kids on his lap and sit in long lines, take pictures with him, and get dressed up like him and talk about him. But they do this every year, and their kids thinking, "Oh my God, I hope Santa Claus do this, and if he don't do it, I'm heartbroken." I know real children. I'm gonna get off the subject. I know real kids right now that are heartbroken when they were 6 and 7 years old and 10 years old, who said, "I asked Santa Claus for a bike. He never brought it. And I just feel like you don't love me." And they're still hurt. And then they're not realizing that it was your mom. But they still holding this hurt because you made them believe this doggone character was going to give them a doggone bike at 7. And now they're heartbroken because he never showed up. Well, because he was never the source of your provision anyway. That's the first problem. But we give our kids this crap as children, and we're not understanding it has long-term effects on their psyche.
Yeah. I want to interject this, please. Let me just make this last point. I was going to add that even in the place of Jesus Christ on Christmas time, because I grew up here. So the exercise that we have sometimes in grade school is actually they ask us to write a letter to Santa and to ask for what we want. So kids around America, whether in school or whether at home on their own accord, actually write letters to Santa. But you realize that this is a prayer? We're actually, not only are we making sacrifices to Santa, but then we're also offering him prayers. As I said, this is 100% idolatry. So above all, I know the Christmas tree is bad, but I think the Santa Claus character is even worse because it is a direct contradiction to what God has called us to when he said that I'm a justice God. Don't bow down to anybody. Don't give anybody their worship, but we worship him. We sacrifice to him. And then our children offer him prayers at the end of the day.
Wow. Okay. On that note, let's take a few comments from our audience on Facebook and YouTube. Sarah Kamara says, "Thank you, Pastor Ate, that it's true. And then Maushi Ahiala says, yes, Pastor, at Akron, it sounds more like Santa Claus Day than Christ's birthday. So technically, Christians have accepted. Looks like Christians have accepted the 25th, birthday. So okay, it's official, at least from our guests, from Pastor Ate and Raven Esco. I don't know about Gideon. Gideon, you accept them too officially for Christians?
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and on Pastor Akron's submission on the Santa Claus, I agree with him entirely. But he mostly spoke my mind, and I mean, if you asked my kids, well, they are young adults now, but back at when they were, 7, 10 years old, I mean, they will tell you that even amongst their class, here in our part of the world, they believe that Santa Claus is as fake as the Tooth Fairy. Because, I mean, they know that once you lose a tooth, I mean, you go and put you put the tooth under your pillow, and then you get to find a present there, a chocolate or something. I mean, these are something we just did to excite them, but as they grew, I mean, they would tell you that, look, I watched very carefully. I pretended to be asleep. I felt it where you were putting the chocolate there.
Yeah.
And then they would tell you amongst themselves, they would tell you that, look, this is basically because we love material stuff. If it's Christmas and Santa Claus comes, I mean, we go to him, we tell him whatever we want to tell him, and Santa Claus gives it to us, or probably gives us some present that would coincide with our taste or our choice. But then if you compared it to Jesus Christ, for example, if you prayed to him, yes, he may do it for you or not, because he does it in his own time, and he would only do it for you when he feels it is good for you. And so if you probably have been praying and you're not getting it, and the Santa Claus comes and Santa Claus gives it to you, there's a likelihood you will incline towards Santa Claus more. Absolutely. I agree with Pastor Cross. Santa Claus is fake.
Wow. No, good point. He says, bro, you are going to tell me Jesus is God. I see. Okay. So that is, somebody is disputing Jesus. His name is Royal Black Jesus. And he says Jesus is nobody. Wow. Okay. That is, yes. Then that's his stand. That's his whole.
Jesus is everything, my friend.
Okay. So that's your answer. Black Jesus. Pastor Ate says Jesus is everything. So, we just it's variety of ideas and comment here. We want to let me see here. Okay, let me see if I can take this one. You must never answer the question, who is Jesus? Okay, that is from Ben. And another comment says Santa Claus just a marketing element. Okay, and then Ella says those words of Jesus Christ were to let them realize that even though they criticize his teachings, but they seek to kill him. Looks like we have a caller. Please tell us your name, and then we would try and go through these comments. Caller, tell us. Yes, go ahead.
This is Brother Green.
This is the Progressive Mind Show.
This is Brother Green. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to chime in on your topic about Santa Claus.
Yes, please.
I mean, it's kind of right in front of our faces. If you switch a few letters around in the word Santa, you get the name Satan. And then you add Claus at the end of that. So you're telling your children about this mysterious figure, but you're really presenting the devil right to your children. And one of the worst things a parent could do to their child is to present your child with a lie, only for that child to realize that you were the first one to lie to him or her. So the devil uses these mystical, mysterious figures to target your children. He's targeting the innocent minds. He uses the parents, he uses the minds of fornicated parents, those that don't abide by the scripture. It makes easy targets for the children. So the parents fill the children's mind up with these fantasies. The children grow up believing in these fantasies. As the child comes of age, child realizes these are just fantasies, and the people that taught them to me are my own parents. So then the child goes out into the world, disregarding authority, disobeying everybody, because the first person that lied to him was his own parents.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Green. Would that be your yeah? Would that be your would that be it for your comment or question today?
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for again calling in to contribute. This is your community building show. Here is where we discuss issues that pertains to you and I every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We're encouraging you to visit our website, theprogressivemindshow.com, and make your contributions there. We need it for our development. We need it for our upgrade, so we can keep bringing you these topical issues. It is not easy at all. So we're encouraging you to go on our website now. It is theprogressivemindshow.com.